you.
Okay, our first application is for the lands of Petro and Tangradi. This request is to permit a reduction in the interior side lot line setback and right-of-way setback for a two-story garage and private cabin. Now, we can ask you to go through and explain this all again, but I don't know if we need to do that. We've already been through it 2 or 3 times. So, anyway, is there any more public comments come in, Adam?
So through you, Chair, notice of minor variance was circulated as required by regulation on April 28, 2026. No more comments have been received since the last meeting. However, should the committee decide to grant the requested variance, the following conditions would be appropriate. Condition number 1, these variances apply to a 2-story private cabin / private garage as shown generally on the property sketch dated April 20th, 2026 and attached to the decision. Condition number 2, the County of Haliburton Shoreline Tree Preservation Bylaw 3505 applies. Condition number 3, the Municipality of Dysart et al. Site Alteration Bylaw 2023-101 as amended applies. Condition number 4, during construction, proper site preparation and construction methods are to be used to prevent sedimentation of the adjacent lake. Condition number 5, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the 2-story accessory building complies with the minimum interior side lot line setback as granted by the committee. Condition number 6, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the 2-story private cabin / private garage complies with the minimum street setback as granted by the committee. Condition number 7, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall remove or bring the sauna into compliance with the zoning bylaw. Condition number 8, prior to occupancy, a planting strip shall be implemented and or maintained along the interior side lot line to screen the 2-story accessory building / private cabin. Condition number 9, no decks, windows, doors, openings, or lights shall be located on the side of the 2-story private cabin / private garage abutting the interior side lot line in which the variance was granted. And staff just want to note, because it was discussed, I believe, at the last meeting in the site visit, about possibly having a condition to make the stairs not allowed on that interior side lot line, because as per the zoning bylaw, they would be permitted near the front of that building on that side. And then I believe there was another discussion about the 2 spruce trees on the property that they remain. How would the committee like to address?
Okay, Jerry?
As far as the stairs, could we add that into the condition that has windows and doors? Just add stairwell?
Yep. Yep, I
Okay.
can include stairs with that condition.
Okay.
Anybody else? Chris, Dawn? All good?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with all that as long as they meet the recommendations.
Chris, Amanda, do you guys got any, you're okay with all those conditions? All good?
Yeah,
We're good.
appreciate it, guys.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So, sorry. Yep.
So I'm gonna add the stairs into that condition. How does the committee want to deal with those 2 trees that were commented? Those 2 spruce trees?
Well, I guess, yeah, the neighbor and the client have agreed to leave them there, so I don't think there's any issues there.
So can I add that as a condition, condition
yeah.
number 10 to keep those 2
Yes.
spruce trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, Adam? Okay. Be it resolved that the committee decision with respect to file number D13 MV 2026-003 be recorded as follows. A variance to section 3.1 EV to permit a private cabin to have a minimal interior side lot line setback of 0.95 meters, 3.1 feet, as opposed to the required minimal of 4.5 meters, 14.7 feet is granted.
Yeah.
Moved by Jerry Walker. Seconded by Chris Bishop. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, the second one. A variance to section 3.1 F to permit a two-story accessory building to have a minimal interior side lot line setback of 0.95 meters, 3.1 feet, as opposed to the required minimal of 4.5 meters, 14.7 feet. Is granted. Moved by Chris Bishop. Or sorry, I don't have to do, I don't have to do moving on that. Just, yep, granted. Okay. And the third, a variance to section 3.3 to permit a two-story private cabin / private garage to have a minimal street setback from the edge of the traveled portion of right-of-way of 4.2 meters, 14 feet, as opposed to the required minimal 7.5 meters, 25 feet. Granted. Okay, and we already had it moved by Jerry Walker, seconded by Chris Bishop. All in favor? Carried. We're done on that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, everyone.
you.
Appreciate your efforts.
Okay,
Then Dean's here for. Yeah.
okay, you want to come up to the table here? Okay, our second application for land of Hondridge. This is a variance request to permit a seasonal dwelling to have a decreased street setback to the edge of Remembrance Lane. Do you want to give us a rundown of what you're looking for? Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. Committee, got any questions, concerns?
No questions, no concerns.
No questions, no concerns.
And I feel the same way.
Okay, on, all good? Good. Okay, Adam, any public comments? And if you want to read the recommended conditions, please.
Through you, Chair, notice the minor variance was circulated as required by regulation on May 26, 2026. No comments have been received, and should the committee decide to grant the requested variance, the following conditions would be appropriate. This variance applies to a seasonal dwelling as shown generally on the property sketch dated May 20th, 2026 and attached to the decision. Condition number 2, the County of Haliburton Shoreline Tree Preservation Bylaw 3505 applies. Condition number 3, the Municipality of Dysart et al. Site Alteration Bylaw 2023-101 as amended applies. Condition number 4, during construction, proper site preparation and construction methods are to be used to prevent sedimentation of the adjacent lake. Condition number 5, prior to occupancy, the shoreline shall be repaired to a natural state using native vegetation. Buffers and clearing are permitted as per the site alteration bylaw. Condition number 6, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicants must submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the seasonal dwelling meets the street setback to Remembrance Lane as granted by the committee. And condition number 7, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicants must bring the lean-to shed into compliance with the zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Somebody like to make a motion then? Jerry?
Can I make a comment?
Yep.
Just regarding condition number 5, when you look at the frontage there, it looks like there is quite a bit of vegetation already, so I don't see the need for that condition to fill that in.
Okay.
So that condition was added because it appears that there's quite a bit of manicured lawn down to the lake, and this is a condition that was on their last variance from last year, prior to occupancy of the garage. So if it was to be removed today, they'd still have to do that condition prior to occupancy of their garage.
Okay, and that's because of last year's.
Yes, there was a condition of the variance from last year.
Okay. So you've got it underway.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly, I think, right? Yep. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to grant the variance.
Moved by Chris Bishop. Seconded by Don Popple. Be it resolved that the committee decision with respect to file D13 MV 2026-005 be recorded as follows. A variance to section 3.30C to permit a seasonal dwelling to have a street setback from the edge of the traveled portion of Remembrance Lane of 6 meters, 19.6 feet, as opposed to the required 7.5 meters, 25 feet is granted. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, and you're free to go. There is.
So there is a 20-day appeal period. You can apply for your permit, but they can't issue it until that appeal period is done.
But you can do the paperwork on it in between now and that 20 days. Okay. The third one, this is for the lands of McLean. Come on. Colin, how are you doing? Good. This is a variance request to permit increased shoreline lot coverage, a seasonal dwelling's height and width, and reduced interior side lot line setbacks. You want to give us a little rundown of your project then? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
button there. Yep.
Okay, so we're just looking to be able to expand our capabilities for future families. Our daughters are going to be moving into creating their own families, we assume, in the next few years. And the current cottage we have, we can't accommodate them. So we're looking for a tear down and to build a new cottage for all of us. So do you need a request of the sides? Is that what you're looking
No,
for?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we've kind of read it all and everything. So now I'll just ask the committee if they got any comments or concerns.
Yeah, my thoughts are what you're looking for is minor, and we've done it before, and as long as you agree to the recommendations, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Anybody else? Jerry?
I'm of the same feeling. There's conditions to it. They appear minor in the way they are and applied for, so I don't see any issues.
Okay. Don, all good? Okay. All right. If Adam, if you can read us any public comments, if there is any, and give us all the comments and recommendations.
Yep. Through you, Chair, notice the minor variance was circulated as required by regulation on May 26, 2026. No comments have been received. Should the committee decide to grant the requested variances, the following conditions would be appropriate. Condition number 1, these variances apply to a seasonal dwelling as shown generally on the property sketch dated April 23rd, 2026 and attached to the decision. Condition number 2, the County of Haliburton Shoreline Tree Preservation Bylaw 3505 applies. Condition number 3, the Municipality of Dysart et al. Site Alteration Bylaw 2023-101 as amended applies. Condition number 4, during construction, proper site preparation and construction methods are to be used to prevent sedimentation of the adjacent lake. Condition number 5, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the seasonal dwelling meets the minimum interior side lot line setbacks as granted by the committee. Condition number 6, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the seasonal dwelling meets the maximum dwelling width as granted by the committee. Condition number 7, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the development meets the maximum shoreland lot coverage as granted by the committee. Condition number 8, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the seasonal dwelling does not encroach into the legal non-complying minimum water setback. Condition number 9, prior to occupancy, the applicant shall submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor, architect, or other professional that the seasonal dwelling meets the maximum structure height as granted by the committee. Condition number 10, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant shall bring the accessory buildings into compliance with the zoning bylaw. Condition 11, prior to the installation of the new septic system permit P07 SP 2025-113, the existing septic system permit number HAR 027-83 shall be decommissioned as per the recommendation from the environmental impact study. Condition number 12, prior to the issuance of a building permit for the new seasonal dwelling, the applicants must complete the purchase of the shoreline road allowance. Condition 13, to implement the recommendations of the environmental impact study, the owner shall enter into a development agreement. Condition 14, prior to occupancy, the shoreline vegetation buffer shall be repaired to a natural state using native vegetation. Condition 15, prior to occupancy, a 3-meter vegetation buffer shall be implemented along both interior side lot lines to screen the subject building from neighboring properties.
That's a lot of conditions.
Can you clarify 13? What does that mean?
So 13 was to implement the recommendations of the environmental impact study, the owner shall enter into a development agreement.
Okay, what's the development agreement? Who's that with?
Yeah, perhaps I can clarify and through you, Chair. So what a development agreement is, it's an agreement between the property owner and the municipality. And this was recommended by whoever did your environmental impact study. So there's some mitigation measures they're recommending in
Yep.
that study. And to implement them and to ensure they're implemented, it says to put them into an agreement. So this is an option for the committee under Section 45 of the Planning Act. If there's conditions to make the variance comply with the 4 tests, that you can enter into a development agreement. So it's just an agreement. It'll outline those conditions. It'll be signed by both parties, and it'll just be used to ensure that you do those conditions.
Okay, I guess the only I think all the conditions are great. The only one I have a concern with is we are going to have to remove some trees. We have a tree in the middle of our deck right now, basically. There may be a tree that impacts our well, that's existing right now. And then further back on the lot away from the lake, there'll be a couple of trees that come down. And then any trees that are dead or dying. Okay. And I see the roosting bats, we shouldn't cut trees down up until November 30th. So if it has to happen after that, we're going to lose a full cottage season because of the build process. So that would be the only thing I question. With on page 13 of the assessment, the amount of removal will be considered as proportionally small, less than 0.00001 of woodland. And by signing the agreement, does that mean I can't cut these trees down until after November 30th?
I'm just trying, I haven't read the agreement in a little while, so I can't remember the exact details. But if that's what the agreement says, then yes. So, and it was you that provided the agreement to us. You hired the person, and they're the ones suggesting to us that this is what should be done. Typically, when they do that, they do provide options though. Like, however, if you do have to remove trees during this time.
Yeah, bring a biologist and a certified biologist.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is the committee should adopt these because there is a professional recommending these mitigation measures. But it's perhaps something that you could go back to your environmental consultant and say, what other options exist here to allow you to take advantage of this building season?
Okay. It just seems it's such a very small, and they even talk about it, right? How proportionally small the removal of the trees are in relative to the rest of the property.
Yeah, and we understand that trees need to be removed for development. Like, we understand that. It's just, yeah, we're not professionals in this field. This is something where we would go back to this person and ask them if there's any flexibility or options, if he's actually included it as a recommended condition. Like,
Oh, okay. On page 3, I believe it is, avoid vegetation removal during the sensitive periods listed below unless other directed by a qualified biologist. So we just have to get a qualified biologist and then it's fine.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You guys got any other comments? Yeah, I'm hoping that you can get a biologist. We have ran into this before, or I have anyway, on some job sites, and normally you can get a biologist to state that, anyway, you'll have to deal with that yourself, but
And perhaps this consultant is the one that you can contact and
Sure.
ask.
Yeah.
You can oversee that.
Okay. Who creates the mutual agreement? Is that something you guys create then?
Yeah,
Mm,
through
okay.
you, Chair. So that's something you can apply for. I think it's a $500 application cost, and it's something that we would prepare a standard agreement and then have it executed.
Okay. And how do I go about that application process? Through one of you guys or through the front?
Yeah, you can contact us after the meeting and we can
Okay.
walk you through that.
Okay.
Yep, no problem.
okay, good to go. Okay, can I get a motion then?
I'll make a motion to grant the variances.
Okay, it's moved by Chris Bishop. Second by Jerry Walker. Okay, be it resolved that the committee decision with respect to file number D13MV 2025-014 be recorded as follows. A variance to section 5.2 to permit a seasonal dwelling to have a minimal interior side lot line setback on the north side of 3.8 meters, 12.4 feet, as opposed to the required minimal of 4.5, 15 feet is granted. All in favor? You. B, a variance to section 5.2 to permit a seasonal dwelling to have a minimal interior side lot line setback on the south side of 4.4 meters, 14.4 feet, as opposed to the required minimal of 4.5 meters, 15 feet is granted. All in favor? You. C, a variance to section 5.2 to permit a seasonal dwelling to have a maximum structure height of 10.6 meters, 34.8 feet, as opposed to the permitted maximum of 9.5 meters, 31.2 feet is granted. All in favor? Thank you. D, a variance to section 5.2 to permit the maximum shoreline lot coverage to be 18% as opposed to the permitted maximum of 15% is granted. All in favor? Thank you. And E, a variance to section 3.19A to permit a main building dimension most nearly parallel to the shoreline to be 52.3% of lot frontage for a total width of 16.8 meters, 55.1 feet as opposed to the permitted maximum of 50% or 18.5 meters, whichever is less. Granted? Favor, thank you. It's all carried. That's it. You're good to go. Thank you. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting? Moved by Don Popple. Seconded by Jerry Walker. At 11:28. All in favor? Carried.